My name is Christopher Gearing. I'm currently a senior at Dripping Springs High School and have been doing policy debate for 4 years. Today, I just wanted to create a short video basically describing how to correctly cite an article for policy debate, cite a card for policy debate. So, here I've got this 6-page PDF document entitled How Capitalism and Racism Support Each Other. This is specifically pertaining to what some people would refer to as anti-blackness or Afro-pessimism on the policy circuit, and this is simply an answer to why capitalism is actually the root cause of racism, not the other way around. So here in this document here, I've got this card, I've got the tagline for the piece of evidence, and I've got the highlighted part of the document that I want to use in the round. So you'll notice here that there's no citation. That's what's missing. So the first thing we want to do is to cite the card correctly is we want to make sure we have the person who wrote the card right. So we can see it's this guy Richard D. Wolfe. So the first thing we want to do is type Wolfe in 16. Excuse me. Wolfe in 16. In order to, this is the part of the card, the cite that you'll just read when going through it. You can also use the verbatim cite function to make it bold so we can remember to read that part. Now, the next part of it is we want to include the full name of the author in parentheses. You're not going to read this part, but you want it there because it's important for ethos. So we say it's Richard D. Wolfe, comma. Then the next thing we want to have is the credentials of the author. So most articles, you'll have the ability to click the author's name and hyperlink it, but here you can see at the bottom of this PDF, it has a short description of the author. Now, this is a lot. You don't want to put this entire thing in there. You only want to put what's directly relevant to the card. So what probably could be smart is Richard D. Wolfe is a professor of economics emeritus at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, and he's currently a visiting professor in the graduate program in international affairs at the New School University, New York City. So we want to just highlight those specific parts of it and then paste them in using the paste function. He's currently a visiting professor, New York University, New York City. Great. And this just provides the credentials of the author. It tells us why he's reliable, tells us why we should be listening to this guy's opinion, especially on an issue of how capitalism and racism interlock. He's a professor of economics. He probably knows what's going on in that regard. So the next part of the card is we want to go back up to the top of the article. We want to grab the title. So the title is How Capitalism and Racism Support Each Other. So I'm going to put that in quotation marks. Other. Good. So then it's always important to have the title of the article and then who published this article. So we can see that the publisher of this article is Truth Out, and it's an opinion article. So we can say Truth Out as the publisher. Then we want to have the date published, which we can see is 27th of April, 2016. It's always important to have that. Then the next thing we want to have is the link to the article. So you can see up here it's a PDF, but it does have a link, so we can just copy and paste this link into the document. And finally, we want to have date access. Now, this is always important to show when you access this piece of evidence. This is common in MLA citation as well. So you can see the date that we've accessed this article is 4/19/2020. And then if you want to get technical and you want to take credit for cards you've cut, you can always put your initials after that, inside or outside the parentheses, excuse me. This is usually more common at camp evidence files. If you go in and look at that, you'll see that a lot of those articles have initials at the end of the citation in order to say this card was cut by this person to give them credit for camp labs and stuff like that. But it's not a requirement if you're just cutting evidence for your team or something like that. But if you still want to put your tag on it, that's fine too. So thank you for paying attention. This is just a short instructional video on how to correctly cite a card. Just to recap, you want to have the last name and the year of the author in bolded in order to remember to read that part of the cite. Then the rest of it, you want to have the full name of the author, then the credentials of the author. Then you want to have the title of the article, the publisher of the article, the date the article is published, a link to the article if it's electronic, or the page numbers if it's a book, then the date you've accessed the article, and then finally, if you want, this is optional, your initials. Thank you all for paying attention. I hope this helps a lot.